So that actually ties into a movie I just saw yesterday. I finally saw, Oscars are coming up. I want to watch all the nominees. I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
Nice.
About this band Queen. Check them out. Look them up on iTunes.
Check them out.
They got some dope tracks.
They're killer.
Download.
I think they're going to be big.
Download I'm in Love with My Car.
I think if this movie wins an Oscar, this band's going to go places.
Yeah, they're going to go platinum. Anyways,
I didn't see it. I refuse to see it, but
Biopic
how was it?
Well, it's out
out.
now. It's out. It's not in theaters at this point. It's
Pirate
out.
Bay. I get it.
So, not going to say my sources.
Laughs pretty hard at that
Not
one.
going to say my sources.
The
but,
Doors biopic.
It's not Lemon Wire. That's all I'm going to say.
The Doors biopic was the last one I saw, and I think I'm turned off. I'll watch a straight up documentary about musical acts, but musical biopics are gross.
They are. But I want to hear this review.
This movie, well, let me just say, hit every cliche you could think of was in this movie, to the point that I felt like I was Neo in the Matrix. Like you won't have to run from bullets. You could just stop them. You'll see them. What? Like I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, oh, they just become a band. And I'm in my head, I thought to myself, are we going to see their van break down? There it is. And they're fixing the tire on the van. It's like every cliche you would think would be in that movie is in it. But anyway, its worst stuff is in the beginning. Like it's you know what? The movie's a big commercial for Queen. I see the entertainment value in it. It's just a big isn't Queen great? I see the entertainment value. If
it's
you
a cash in on the Queen fan base.
It's exactly.
Like, you love Queen, pay to watch this movie.
Sure, but what I actually thought in the beginning of the movie, I was cringing a lot more. By the end of the movie, it was kind of like, okay, it found its way, and then they show a lot more of the music, and that was fine because the main dude is great. The guy who played Freddie Mercury, Rami Malek or whatever his name is fantastic. He should probably win. Like, he was legit really good. So the more the movie went on, and it was more of him just doing his thing or whatever.
Just give the Oscar to Freddie Mercury.
It was a little more entertaining. But the reason I bring this up is the beginning parts of that movie just fast forward through their development as a band. So that movie starts and it's like, oh man, we don't have a lead singer. What? You can do it? Okay, yeah, come on in. Oh, somebody to love. Oh man, what's your name? Freddie Mercury, you're great. Okay, yeah, it's within 5 minutes, they're a band, and within 10 minutes, they're meeting with the manager. I don't know. I could sign another band this minute. Well, no other band is Queen. Listen, we're a family. And it's like, I've spent no time with you guys. You guys just got together. They didn't show them barely playing any shows, and they're already talking about how they've no other band is Queen. So, that movie is just a perfect example of, even regardless of the rest of it, whatever. Let's say the rest is wonderful. That movie really does fast forward through all this crucial early time before they were Queen.
What's the movie about? What's the conflict? What are they achieving as Queen in this movie?
I'll give the rough plot of it, and it will this will blow you away because you're gonna go, oh my god, I've seen that movie 20 times.
No way. This movie's nominated for Oscars.
We need to start a band. They start a band, Queen. They get big. Yeah. Someone offers him a solo deal. Okay. I think I'm going to take the solo deal. The band's mad. He gets into a bunch of shit, and it doesn't work out great with the solo thing. He tries to plead to the band to get back together. They get back together. They play. That's the general plot.
Resolution, baby.
So it starts with Queen, not Freddie Mercury, and then Queen's the hero at the end for letting Freddie Mercury back in the band.
They are a different band, and they lose their...
So is it like Freddie Mercury's desire to go off on his own? I still don't
he's just threatened as an artist.
I don't understand why this movie's interesting, I guess.
He's threatened as an artist. He's got to be free,
Okay. All right.
Gotta be free.
I saw a YouTube video where somebody took the Live Aid footage from Bohemian Rhapsody and put it next to the real footage of the concert. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. I would rather just watch the concert.
But that I legit thought that guy was really good. I'll say that. That guy was great. But yeah. that.
I mean, is it about Freddie Mercury's life, or is it about the band?
The band. I mean,
okay.
It centers on him because
it's not really about anything.
It centers on him because it is. I mean, it's Freddie Mercury.
Like,
he was the biggest aspect of that group. But.
Usually, the lead singer gets all the treatment. Like that Doors biopic was just all about Jim Morrison.
Yeah,
and like Sid and Nancy, it's about Sid. It's not really a Sex Pistols biopic, but it's all about Sid. I'm trying to think. You mentioned like Amadeus, Frank.
Yeah, I mean that deals with Mozart and his
Amadeus
rival.
is amazing.
So that's one where there's footage. There's no footage of this guy existing.
Yeah.
That makes sense to make a biopic about him. But if there's already footage of the existing band and we know how they lived, what's the point of making up new shit?
Totally. This is what I said on the podcast last week. I don't like biopics that are too close to where we are in history.
Yeah.
Right now, because I just feel like I know that story. Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I really enjoy in any movie like learning something about the characters, whether it's a true story or not. There's something to be learned. Maybe you learn something about human nature by watching a movie, but when it's just like yeah, oh, and then they sing the concert that's really famous. Okay,
but you know what I think that it is. What's comforting with these movies and why they do well. Legitimately, I was thinking a lot about this.
Yeah,
I think they do well, and I'm not even dissing. I'm not even being a hater here, but. There's so few things. I'm gonna actually say this in defense of movies like this. Just for there's so few things that people can come together on totally nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially in music. Like, no one's together on anything in music. And I'm not even saying that as a good or a bad thing. It's just there isn't something, you know what I mean? There isn't a new thing that's like the Beatles where we're all into it. It's like, no, we all have our own eclectic tastes and whatever. And there's a lot of just conflict in the world in general on everything. You could write anything online right now and have two people argue about it, or whatever. There's very few uniting things. So these few things that we have that are like, like the Beatles or Queen, these are a couple of very few things where it's kind of like we're all together on how fucking great this thing was. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had somebody walk up to you and tell you how much the Beatles or Queen sucks? Like, you just go like, okay, you're weird. Like, you know what I mean? It's like for the most part where everyone's together on that. So when they have these movies that are like, oh, aren't they great? Oh, like this whole movie was just sucked the ass of Queen the whole time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that people can go and feel that way, where it's just like, yeah, right? Like there's just no other side to it almost. You know what I mean? And I think in times like this, it's comforting to some people that you go and let's just for 2 hours fucking relish in Queen. And I totally get the entertainment value in it. Of course, we're looking at it compared to any other movie and how we see how a movie should be. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But I think that is why they pull so many people.
I think that there's
a
large population of people out there that just have no taste.
And
not like they have bad taste, but
that's true.
And this isn't an insult, but legitimately just. They never got into any music, They don't know anything about anything.
Sure.
They don't even know what they don't know.
They're not going to watch a documentary.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they don't even know where to start to discover music or get an education about music. And so they just accept what is commercialized. Like, hey, did you know Queen's one of the greatest bands of all time? Really? Huh. Okay. Maybe I'll go check out this Queen movie because they just don't know.
Sure.
And I feel like it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy of a huge marketing machine. They're great. You haven't heard they're great. They're great. Don't worry. They are great. Here's the movie. Check it out. And they just kind of feed into it.
The movie was a big commercial for Queen. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And to its credit, like I could talk shit on it all day, but I listened to Queen when it was over. That was all in my head, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, and I put it on.
It was. I had a moment. People know I direct music videos every now and again. And I had a moment a few years ago where I was like talking to some of these musicians. You ever had a moment where you realize like, oh, I don't know shit about shit. They were talking to me about music and stuff, and I was telling them, well, I listen to this band. You ever heard the White Stripes? And they literally like stopped me in the conversation, like very politely. They're like, oh, you don't know anything about music, do you? And I was like, I think I do. But then they kind of revealed to me that there was this whole, other world of music out there, almost
not commercial.
Not commercial stuff that's never talked about, or they'll never make a movie out of these bands. It's the whole, there's an underground scene that is super rich and super influential, and people who are into music are aware of it, but people who aren't into music, your average Joe, has no clue that world exists. And I feel like the Queen movie is made for those average Joes.
Yeah, and I say this every time we talk about like big, broad movies, but like, yeah, it's the highest grossing like drama in the world, and yeah, it's meant for worldwide audiences, internationals, like casual audiences, like people who see 2 to 5 movies a year or even less than that. So, and again, like in Bollywood cinema, Indian cinema, all their films are big musical spectacles. So yeah, internationally, like people love this, and Queen is something that's known internationally.
Yeah, and again, my parents saw it. They don't see a lot of movies. They saw
said
that.
It's the biggest grossing,
highest grossing drama.
And I'm thinking back, like, didn't Joaquin Phoenix make a Johnny Cash one a couple of years
and
ago?
and
that was
huge.
It really is like the estates of these dead artists. There'll be a Prince one in another 5 years, I bet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Nirvana one on the way.
Oh my god!
I think they've already made a couple.
Gus Van Sant did an art film,
and it's such dog shit.
But there will be though another one that's got like a good actor in it.
Yeah.